Hello and welcome. I'm Harmony Kwiker, and I'm the founder of the Institute for Spiritual Alignment, where we offer ongoing learning opportunities for therapists, coaches, and anyone who's passionate about bridging the divide between traditional psychotherapy and coaching and spiritual transformation. It often seems as though being in our alignment is much easier to maintain and explore when we are by ourselves. Maybe when we're alone on our meditation cushion or away on vacation or um, not engaging with other people at all. Learning how to not only stay in our alignment when we engage with the people in our lives, especially our intimate partner, but to deepen into alignment and to actually have the intention of engaging in a spiritually aligned relationship is so revolutionary. It shifts the whole paradigm of what it means to even be in relationship. I'm going to share more about that with you today in this video. Before I do, I want to share with you my new book, Align: Living and Loving from the True Self. Align is a comprehensive map of how to come back home to the truth of who you are and how to live in love from this deeply sacred place within yourself. I also have these new self-guided alignment cards that I'm super excited about. There's 48 cards in a deck, and every card has a wisdom teaching and a sentence stem to support you in living and loving from your true self. So I remember the moment that I had this epiphany about relationship, and I write about it in my new book, Align. But I had this epiphany about relationship where I could see that when a couple was in conflict, either myself with my partner or a couple that I was working with um, in my work with clients, that I could see that when a couple was in conflict, they were holding what's called a polarity. And when a couple was open hearted and deeply in their love for one another, they were in what's called resonance. Now, polarity and resonance is something that I talk and teach a lot about when I'm working with student therapists. And it really influences much of the way of which I work with clients and orient towards guiding transformation. Once I was able to see this same principle applied to couples, everything shifted for me, not only in my work with couples, but in my own intimate relating with my partner, with my beloved. And I really believe that understanding polarity and resonance in our relationship, in our most intimate relationship, can transform the potential and the opportunity for our intimacy, for our sovereignty, for our own alignment, and to stay in alignment and cultivate a spiritually aligned connection. So, what is a polarity? A polarity is essentially two opposing experiences. So internally, we each can have a polarity. When we have an inner conflict within ourselves, we have two opposing experiences that are fighting with one another. And so in an individual, I would work with their internal polarity. With a couple, what I've come to find out and learn is that the couple ends up holding the polarity. And when there is a conflict, one person is really attached to their idea and the other person is attached to their opposing idea. And we actually need polarity for relationship to happen. We need both polarity and resonance for a relationship to happen. But when there is too much polarity, a relationship can be quite volatile. There isn't enough resonance, which I'll talk about in a moment, but there's not enough resonance to really resource and find connection. Polarity can be that spark of excitement in a relationship, but when there's too much polarity, there's a volatility. The couple is holding too much opposing energy with one another. And when, let's just say, in real time, somebody says to us, it's such a beautiful day. And then inside of us, we actually feel quite miserable that day. And we're like, this is the worst day ever. That's just an example of a polarity. And obviously, this probably wouldn't cause conflict, but I just want to share with you this like simple idea of what a polarity is. These are two people who are having opposing experiences and an opposing perception of what is happening in that moment. Resonance, on the other hand, is sameness. And a quality of sameness would be something like, I love you so much. I love you so much. And this is a similar quality of sameness. And there's nothing to fight about, right? Because there's a similarity. Even if the sameness was, I think I'm done with this relationship, and the other person says, I think I am too. I think I feel complete. That still is a resonant experience. What I've learned is that when somebody in my field is holding a polarity from my experience, I can still find resonance with them without dropping my experience. So if somebody says to me, let's just say my beloved says to me, I feel criticized by you. If I hold the polarity, then I would say, I wasn't criticizing you. I was simply stating that I wanted the grass to be mowed this way or something like that. I'm holding a polarity with my beloved. But if he comes to me and says, I feel criticized by you, I can find resonance with him simply by saying, you're feeling criticized. I don't need to agree with him that I was criticizing him, but simply by hearing him and reflecting that to him, I have created a resonant vibration in our field that has him feel safe, that creates more safety in our relationship. It's not just for him, it's for us. I've created more safety in our relationship, more sameness, more connection, even though there's also a polarity. I still also don't agree that I criticized. And so I'm not dropping that, but finding resonance first actually allows us to find a point of connection. Now, the way that this relates to alignment is really multifaceted, and I'm not going to go into the full depth of that here, but I do want to say that when a couple is holding a polarity, they are in an entanglement pattern. And so if this is two people in their alignment, this is two people in their entanglement pattern where they're projecting their feeling onto one another, they're disowning something inside of themselves, and they get into deeper conflict and trying to find out which opposing energy is right. Yeah, obviously from the ego and not from the heart or from the true self. And it's such a common pattern and can be quite easily to slip into when we identify and hyper identify with our ordinary mind and the thoughts in our mind. So by finding resonance, we actually prevent the entanglement pattern happening before it even starts. So let's just say I'm here, just sitting here, and I'm in my alignment, and my beloved is just slightly off center. And he says to me, you criticized me. If I came off center and said, no, I didn't, you blah, 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 I've now entered into the entanglement pattern. But to stay in my alignment, and I can just see him and see that he's having an experience and not personalize it, not engage with it, but not leave him and not defend and not block him out either. Actually stay in my heart and stay in the essence of my true self. I can simply say, it sounds like you're feeling criticized. What's happening for you? And actually be curious, because a curious mind is a healthy mind. And to do that without leaving myself, to not hurry, like I don't need to rush and say my opinion. I can actually regulate my nervous system, and I become a co-regulating force in our relationship, which means I'm staying in my alignment. And the more able I am to stay in my alignment, I know that I have an unbreakable connection with the source that beats my heart. That even when my partner and my beloved is having a challenging time, I actually can still stay in my alignment and be in this relationship fully as my fullest self as he finds his way back home to himself, to his heart, remembering that I'm not the source of his pain. I'm not the source of his solution. I'm not the source of his love. And then he can come back into his alignment and we can deepen and deepen into intimacy where those entanglement patterns are not what is the baseline of our relationship. Our alignment is the baseline of our relationship. In order for this to happen, there's two things that are really important for both of us to agree upon. And one is we both need to agree that we are responsible for our own alignment. And this is really important. The moment that we believe that it is our partner that is responsible for our okayness and our well-being and is um, our source of safety and power, we aren't in agreement that we are responsible for our own alignment. Our younger attachment wounds and patterns probably, in all likelihood, guide that misbelief that the other person is responsible. But full self-responsibility, 100% self-responsibility, is the way to have sovereign, spiritually aligned connection. And that is not to say that I am so self-responsible that I allow abusive behavior. That is not to say that at all, because in what I'm saying, both of us are in agreement that we are both responsible for ourselves. That's number one. And number two is the recognition that our connection is important and sacred, and that we put our spiritual purpose, our spiritual body, our spiritual heart at the center, and that we both hold that as sacred, and that it is both of our responsibility to tend to the interconnectedness of our spiritual union. And this is seemingly a paradox. We are both self-responsible for ourselves fully, and we are both responsible for our interconnectedness. This place of interconnectedness is where most entanglement patterns happen, because when we're in a relationship, the connection is really what we both want. But to have that connection without leaving our sense of self-responsibility, without leaving our alignment, is where the beauty begins to unfold of the deepest, clearest, cleanest, crystalline connection. So just to summarize that for you, every relationship needs polarity and resonance. We need difference to have a spark, to have connection, and we need sameness to have safety and to have a sense of union. Too much polarity causes volatility. Too much resonance causes dullness and boredom. So if you're interested in learning more, I have an online course called Spiritually Aligned Relationships that I would love for you to check out. It is so comprehensive in teaching you how to really stay aligned, how to have clear energetic boundaries, how to have clean and secure attachment cords, how to heal your own attachment wound, and how to have the deepest, most sacred intimacy. I wish you so many blessings and joy in your intimate relating, in your alignment, and in your connection with yourself. Thank you for joining me today.